there is demand, there is a need. And so I hope that that demand will drive people to want to enter the profession. And then when they see that there's a path that's maybe a little bit easier for them to come in, they'll go for it.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
And welcome back to the program, everyone. Dustin Harris hanging out once again with you. Man, we got a great interview coming up. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Want to do a quick shout out to each of our sponsors, of course. DataMaster, helping appraisers save 30 to 60 minutes per report. You can find out more at datamasterusa.com, datamasterusa.com. Of course, we're sponsored by Working RE Magazine, keeping appraisers informed about what's going on in the appraisal industry. That's Working RE. Folks, if you're not on their free, I said free, F-R-E-E, free email list, you need to be. Go to workingre.com, workingre.com. Folks, we're going to be talking a little bit about Corelogic today. So just a disclosure, of course, Alamode is a subsidiary of Corelogic, and they are a great sponsor here, have been for years. It's the software that I have been using for over 2 decades. Of course, they've been out there for over 3 decades, helping appraisers to do more. Alamode.com or 800 Alamode is where you get hold of them. Well, folks, I want to welcome to the program a good friend of mine, individual that I'm just excited to have on the program. His name is Mr. Shawn Telford. Shawn, welcome to the program, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Appreciate the opportunity.
I really appreciate you being here. Just a quick bio on Shawn. He is currently serving as the chief appraiser for Corelogic. Telford's been involved and actively involved in the real estate appraisal industry since, 1993. I'm not going to tell you that I graduated in 93, but I might have. He's deep experience in the mortgage lending industry, collateral management, and the valuation technology. Telford is passionate about driving innovation in the valuation industry. After joining Corelogic in 2007, Telford successfully led several initiatives to create and implement software as a service and an automated risk-based collateral review solution. Telford is a member of the Appraiser Qualifications Board. We're going to be talking about that later. A past member of the Appraisal Standards Board. He holds an MBA, an MS in Computer Information Systems, and a BS in Business Management. Wow, Shawn, I could go on and on. You're an amazing man. You've been in this industry for a very, very long time. And man, I just can't thank you enough for being here. And I might start off and just say congratulations on your current position, a new position, as it were, as the chief appraiser at Corelogic. Tell the listeners more about what that means. What does that look like on a day-to-day and a more macro basis as well?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Dustin. Appreciate that introduction. Happy to be here and have the opportunity to talk about things that are important to me. Yeah, so I've been, the role of chief appraiser is a little bit new for me. So it's been going on for a few months now. Prior to that, I've been heavily involved in the product development and technology part of the business, which I'm also passionate about. But this role opportunity came along, and Corelogic is a great company when it comes to appraising and valuation, and is very committed to the industry. And I thought this was a great opportunity to be more involved in that component of the business. And so, in Corelogic business, as you mentioned, we have many different companies like Alamode, you have Marshall & Swift, you have the Columbia Institute, you have Appraisal Port, Mercury Network, Appraisal Scope, many different collateral valuation components in the industry are part of Corelogic. And so I have the opportunity to interact with those. All those business lines provide help and direction and guidance from a strategic and compliance level. So I'm very involved with each of those businesses at a high level, which is wonderful. I get to work with great people. And, we also, of course, have our appraisal management company and appraisal firm that are part of our business. So we have hundreds of appraisers on staff that are part of our business. So, but, I kind of have 3 areas I try to focus on. One is providing direction and information about what's going on in the industry, policy changes, regulatory changes, kind of the normal stuff you think a chief appraiser is involved with. Help our business leaders run their businesses most effectively with these guidelines and regulatory constraints. And we want to make sure we're in compliance, but we also are a business and need to be effective. I also have the opportunity to reach out and work with GSEs, with regulators and so forth on behalf of the company to interact and, understand what's going on there and help our business leaders understand how that applies to their business. And then I get to do stuff like this, like the outreach. I get to interact with people that make a difference in the appraisal community. And that part I really enjoy, because there's a lot of great people that work hard to make this a better profession. And so being involved in interacting with the appraisers, with the regulatory folks, with the foundation, with all those things are great opportunities. So kind of a broad role, And as I mentioned, it's a little bit new, so we're still defining it, but a lot of wonderful opportunities there.
Well, some listeners may know that you and I have known each other for many years, but we do have thousands of listeners, and many may not know. So I will just take an opportunity and say I've known Shawn for many, many years. Consider Shawn a friend, and it's good to have someone like Shawn in the role that you're in. Let's address the 900-pound gorilla in the room. Some appraisers have concern. You talk about the many things that Corelogic is involved in, and on one hand, you've got the benefit of being in those many different data places, if you will, and develop tools, as you've been heavily involved in, to help that data stream and to help appraisers to be more informed. But of course, appraisers have expressed concern that Corelogic is big and has a lot of pots on the stove. Tell me how you address concerns like that, and from your new vantage point, help the listeners to understand a little bit of what Corelogic brings to the market.
Well, certainly, happy to do my best to answer that question. Corelogic has many different components of the evaluation process, end to end. That opportunity allows us to help drive innovation and provide broad solutions that affect and impact and improve the process for all of the folks that are involved, from the lenders that use the systems to underwrite appraisals and order appraisals and interact with appraisers and so forth. That it's critical that process is efficient and effective. We have the opportunity through our public records processes to provide data and information that help inform lenders and appraisers. We have the Columbia Institute that's involved in the training and providing education. All of this is a part of our commitment to the industry, to the valuation industry, to improve it and make it better. I mean, there's a lot of, we believe there's a lot of opportunity to grow and to learn and to provide opportunity for those that are in the industry, from the lender side to the appraiser side to the AMCs and others that use our technology to be effective. So, we're very committed to the process. We're very committed to the industry and helping improve and create opportunities for those in the valuation profession.
Thank you. I don't think you can be an appraiser today and not utilize the services of Corelogic. And like I said, I can't think of a better person to be there in that role. And I appreciate that answer. And I appreciate you being here, Shawn. Let's talk pandemic. This has been a crazy year for all of us, not just in the evaluation side, but just in life in general. I don't think any of us a year ago would have guessed that we would be in this crazy world that we live in. How has the valuation world specifically changed this year, Shawn?
Yeah, it's not a rhetorical question. It's I don't even know where to start on that kind of thing. I mean, where's the world changed this year, and right. How is that impacted? But it's, when it comes to valuation specifically, there's just so many places you can start. But let's kind of start with the day-to-day life of an appraiser. So when the pandemic hits, appraisers now are faced with a lot of decisions, and in some cases confusion about, hey, how do I keep doing what I'm being asked to do in my job? How do I keep my family safe? How do I keep those that I'm interacting with safe? How do I communicate with lenders about what's going on? And then we have the DSEs interject flexibilities, FHA and VA as well. So all these new factors come to play that appraisers have to deal with and understand so that they can continue to do their work. So, I mean, that's a lot of thinking and change to how they operate. You could also couple that with the crazy volume that we've seen from low interest rates. So the demand for appraisal services is very high. And so, it's just changed a tremendous amount in how appraisers are being asked to pivot and to flex and to acclimate to what's going on. And we've seen a tremendous amount of success. Appraisers have pivoted. They have found ways to get it done. They take precautions. They communicate effectively with lenders. They've understood, when they need to use a flexibility. They've learned and understood how to do that properly. And the vast majority of the GSEs are telling us are doing it properly when necessary. So there's just been, a lot of that is kind of the more practical day-to-day stuff. But at the same time, I think the valuation industry's been, I don't want to say had your eyes open, but some of the things that maybe we wouldn't have tried or done in the past, all of a sudden we're doing very quickly. We're doing more things from the desk that we might not have done before. We're relying on data sources that we might not have used before. And we're seeing, hey, this could work. Now there's still things that we've also learned don't work, but I think we've seen the doors open a little bit because of the pandemic. It's been a catalyst for change in some regards. So, I think we'll see a lot of that continue, and we'll see momentum continue there.
You know, it's been interesting to sit in my chair over this last couple of months and watch appraisers, as you pointed out, pivot. Some things that they've been maybe I would even use the word vehemently against in the past. They've learned to adjust to. They've learned that there's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. Valuation is a bigger, broader process than just the 1004. And it's been interesting to watch how appraisers have come together with each other, not just in the valuation side and communication with the AMCs and the clients and the lenders and everything else, but also communication with each other to help understand, you know, what are these new changes? What can we do to pivot? Do you see this as a snapshot? Let's just predict here. You know, there's going to be a vaccine. That the pandemic's going to go away. It's no longer going to be a thing. Will we revert back to where we were before? Or do you see this type of change moving forward?
I think that it'll be a little bit of a mix to answer your question. I think there's lenders themselves, appraisers, all the people that are in the mortgage ecosystem. There's a comfort level with what's consistent and similar, and so I think there's a natural tendency to want to have things, quote, return to normal. And I think in many ways we've seen the statistics on the use of the appraisal flexibilities from the GSEs, you know, peak in May and then kind of trail off since that time, as appraisers have figured out how to get it done in the way that they're most comfortable with, which is fine and appropriate. But I do think that we're getting data, we're getting observations about how some of these new approaches work, and you know, we'll be able to digest what that means, and we'll be able to look at that information and see, you know, what could we do to change the future. And you know, my hope and what we would do, of course, is to be responsible and think through and try to understand the information we're getting through this process to see what might be the most effective way to move forward. And I think certainly, you know, the GSEs are going to do the same thing. You know, in my opinion, I don't have any insider there, but I think they're going to look at what they're learning about the appraisal process, and we'll see that as they shape their overall modernization initiatives that you know, they've started, and who knows how they'll turn out with the elections and other factors. But certainly, I think we'll see some of the stuff stick. It might be modified a bit, but I do think we'll see that.
If there's any constant in this world, it is change. We're talking.
It has, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it has to change, Dustin.
Yeah,
if you look at the I like to use the world of nature. I mean, a tree grows by changing every year. The leaves fall off. We're watching all that happen, and then it grows, and it happens every year. So, I mean, I think that sometimes we forget that those change events are good.
Yeah.
And that they provide opportunity.
I think that's well put. When we get back from the break, Shawn, I want to talk to you a little bit about the change that the AQB made recently and get your thoughts there. But I want to pause here and remind everybody that we are sponsored by three great companies. Of course, Shawn is the chief appraiser at Corelogic. Corelogic, of course, owns Alamode, as he mentioned. Alamode is the company that I continue to utilize because of the value, man, the great value, the tools, the information, the integration that Alamode gives me. I mean, the ROI. In other words, the fees that I pay to Corelogic and to Alamode are 10 times when it's returned to me. Great tools, great ability to be able to accomplish great things. Alamode, folks, if you're with any other company, check them out, give them a call. 800 Alamode, and ask them how they are different than the company that you are using. You will be surprised, and I will see you on the other side of the fence. You can again call them at 800 Alamode or alamode.com. Datamaster, of course, saving appraisers. I want you just to imagine, listeners, if you could save, let's just go conservative, 30 minutes on every appraisal report that you do. Now, count up the number of appraisals that you do per month, and if you can just times that by 30 minutes, how many hours, how many dozens of hours are you going to save every single month? I'm telling you, folks, if you're not with Datamaster, you need to be. Check them out. Go to datamasterusa.com. Again, it's datamasterusa.com. And finally, we're sponsored by Working RE Magazine. Shawn and I have talked today a little bit about the future and what's happening with appraisers. Well, how do you stay informed about what's going on? Working RE Magazine. Folks, go to your computer, type in workingre.com, sign up for their free newsletter, and a couple times a week, you will be informed about what is going on in the appraisal world. Again, it's workingre.com, workingre.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. We are talking today with the chief appraiser at Corelogic, Mr. Shawn Telford. Shawn, again, thank you for joining us. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Recently, and you sit on the board, just to clarify, you sit on the board of the AQB, right?
I am a member of the AQB, correct?
Okay. So the AQB recently made a move to allow what I'm going to call virtual training for appraisers. Essentially, what this has done is allowed in the states that want to adopt. Of course, each state can make its own decision, but in the states that want to adopt this new program, my understanding is a trainee, if you will, can kind of skip the mentorship. I think this was, well, I'm not going to speculate. My question for you: why do you believe this change happened?
Sure. And again, as you said, I am a member of the AQB. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, so these are Shawn's opinions.
You're not the AQB, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's a great opportunity to be part of that process and to be involved. I consider it a responsibility for those of us that are involved in the profession to do our best to get involved. So that's my attempt to be involved. From my perspective, again, Dustin, in the last 10 plus years of my career, I've been involved in the technology side of valuation business. And I've seen how technology can shape and change and adjust and make better how things are done. And as you look at the process of giving appraisers getting experience, the model that's out there today, in many cases, it works just fine where you have a supervisor and you get experience working with them. In many cases, it doesn't work. There's not enough supervisors available, or we've seen it, again, anecdotally, Shawn's opinion, you see sometimes where the supervisory experience is not that great, and so the person getting the experience doesn't learn all they need to learn. And so the PAREA opportunity allows for a trainee to get experience through technology and to learn what they need to learn from the experience process using a technologically based approach. And that is a great opportunity to help expand the opportunity for people to enter the profession. And it's important also to note that the way that the AQB has set it up, there still is mentoring of this individual. They're not left to just click through a bunch of screen experiences and exercises where they demonstrate their capabilities. At points throughout that process, they interact with a mentor who will be a certified appraiser who will help give them dialogue and feedback to ensure that they have gained the experience necessary to move forward in the program. So again, there is mentorship. It's just a different approach than the current supervisor trainee model that we have in place.
Do you see more trainees coming in, more appraisers coming into the field through this process?
I hope that there will be. We recognize that there are, this is new. It's never been done before in the appraisal world. I mean, technology is used to help give people experience in many other professions, from pilots to medicine to nurses and so forth. But so yes, I believe it can be a very good path for folks to come into the profession and get the experience they need to get their licensed or certified credential. And I think there's the demand for appraisal services, in my mind, Dustin, it's still there. It's very strong. I mean, there's we've seen statistics this year that the number of submissions to the UCDP portal, according to the GSEs, is as high as it's ever been, which means the number of appraisals being done, at least in the mortgage space, is as big as it's ever been. Mm-hmm. And so there is demand, there is a need, and so I hope that demand will drive people to want to enter the profession. And then when they see that there's a path that's maybe a little bit easier for them to come in, they'll go for it and they'll enter the profession.
It's interesting. This year, I created a trainee course, if you will, on how to become an appraiser. It's I think a 10 to maybe 12 session course that appraisers can go through to learn, how to get a mentor, how to go through the process of training, and we go into training, how to measure a house and how to support your adjustments. And it's interesting, the demand for that has just over the years just increased as we've seen more and more individuals desiring to get into this field. But I want to touch base, as you talked a little bit before the break about some of the changes that are going on and some of the concerns. And I don't think it's a concern right now for appraisers because we're so, pardon my French, but damn busy right now. We can't even hardly keep our head above water. But we're also seeing an increase in the waivers. We're seeing an increase in desktops and that kind of thing. Do you see that being the trend? And when things slow down, I know some appraisers have expressed concern that, that they just won't be in as demand as they were because, there's more waivers, there's more desktops, there's more other valuation tools that have not been so popular in the past.
Sure. Certainly, as we just mentioned a little bit, change is part of everything that we do. And certainly this industry is not immune to change. The waivers, we know there's a lot of waivers going on. We don't know exactly how many. There's some, statistics out there, but the GSEs don't particularly comment on the specifics. But, there's a lot of reasons you can look at potentially why that is. But again, as I mentioned, the volume of appraisals being submitted to the UCDP right now is as high as it's ever been. So that means there's just a lot of work to be done. I do see that as we continue to have better access to data and information for appraisers. I mean, years ago, we did inspections because there wasn't a centralized source to get data about the house. And nowadays, there's so much data, it's almost, you could spend too much time looking at, stuff on the internet about a house from various and different sources. So I think as we continue to have more and better data, the type of valuations that appraisers are asked to do will change. Lenders are intelligent and smart about how they make the lending decision. they're always looking for ways to make that more efficient, but they still have risk decisions to make. They have to understand the credit of the borrower, the capacity of the borrower, and they've got to understand the collateral. And the value of an appraiser's opinion on the collateral remains the valuable in the marketplace, and I don't see that changing. I do see that there's the likelihood of, as you say, desktops or exterior type inspections becoming used. Yeah, I think that there's a trend towards that. It's not new. We've seen those as long as I've been in appraising. But as data becomes more ubiquitous in the world about properties and information, I can see that the trends will start to stick maybe a little bit more.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to parrot back what I think you're saying, Shawn. Just to summarize, the role appraisers will always be needed. The role of appraisers may change slightly from data collectors to analysts. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I very much agree with that. The notion of the value an appraiser brings is in the analysis, in forming an opinion. That's what USPAP's all about, is how do I form an opinion and how do I make judgments about, do I have enough data to form a credible opinion? Can I look at the information that I have and say, yeah, that's enough, or do I need to go collect more? So yes, I think that's, is it going to happen overnight? Of course not. But I think as we have more and more data out there, the appraisers will be asked to analyze the data, form opinions of value, and help lenders in the lending decisions.
Shawn Telford, the chief appraiser at Corelogic. Boy, I sure appreciate your time and you being here. I think your insights are valuable as we appraisers move forward in the changing world of appraisal and valuation. Thank you, my friend.
You bet. Thank you.
That's been Shawn Telford. He is the chief appraiser at Corelogic. And folks, I tell you that if there's anything we can count on in the valuation industry, it is that things will continue to change. Thank you, listeners, for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being willing to change and to move forward in this great industry we call valuation. Appreciate you joining me, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.